What's up guys, MizzoFrizzo from Pitchfork Academy here, and in this Unreal Engine 5 tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to retarget animations from a variety of different sources, giving you about 1,000 free animations to use in your projects. I'm going to be showing you how to retarget in UE 5.3 using the old system, and I'm also going to be showing you how to retarget these animations in UE 5.4 and 5.5 as well, giving you, as I said, about 1,000 free animations to use in your project. Some really cool animations from places like the Lyra starter game and the game animation sample project, the motion matching sample project. And guys, if this tutorial turns out to be of any use or value to you whatsoever, you can support what we do here at Pitchfork Academy by wishlisting our new game coming out April 16th called Skyblocker. We're very, very excited for this one. It's just going to be $10 and will be a great way to support us here at Pitchfork, because if this game does well, then, well, I'm going to quit my day job and I'm going to be making a lot more tutorials for you guys. But without further ado, let me show you how to do this. Alrighty guys, so I'm here in Unreal Engine 5.3 and all I've done is create a new project using the third person template. And I do recommend that you do your retargeting in basically an empty template project because the retargeter that we're going to be using for the old method is actually contained within the third person template project content pack. You could add it to your project, add the third person content pack, but if you don't want to bloat your project with this and it doesn't already contain it, you could just create a new template project using the third person template. And then we're going to start off with a really basic one. We are going to add the animation starter pack from Epic Games themselves. So if you head over to Fab and you search for animation starter pack, now for me, this has come right up here, the first result, but Fab can be a bit of a nightmare to navigate. And if you cannot see the animation starter pack here, a couple of things you can try is you can filter by free on price, and you can also drop down supported engine versions and check UE 5.0, because I happen to know that the Anim starter pack is supported in 5.0. So here we go, the Anim starter pack. I am going to add this to my project and I'm going to select the most recent compatible version. So if you're using 5.3 like me, you can choose 5.2, or if you're using 5.1 or 5.0, you can select those as well. So I'm going to select 5.2 and add to project. And once that's downloaded, you'll know it's added to your project because you'll see this new folder, Anim Starter Pack, right here, in which we've got a bunch of animation assets. But as you can see, these are for the UE4 Mannequin. But inside of our third person template project pack here, it's in characters and Mannequin UE4 and rigs, you'll see there's an IK retargeter here, two IK retargeters, UE4 many to UE5 many, and UE5 many to UE4 many. So we're going to use this UE4 many to UE5 many retargeter here, and all we need to do is go to our Anim starter pack here. We can filter for animation sequence, and then we can press Control A on all of these and right click and find retarget animation assets, duplicate and retarget animation assets / blueprints. And we'll select our retargeter over here. It's going to be a UE4 many to UE5 many. And you'll see the respective skeletal meshes will appear here. And then we can change where they save into. We can change, we can put a prefix or a suffix on them. And we can also search for things and replace them. Let's just put the prefix of UE5 _ on here and hit retarget. I'm just going to retarget these into the content folder. You can select a more appropriate folder if you like, but I'm just showing the method for retargeting here. And every time we retarget this many assets and create this many new assets all at once, you might just want to hit save all and save everything in case your engine crashes. But if we open these up, you'll see we've now got a whole bunch of really nifty animations for our UE5 skeleton reloading animations and firing animations, death animations, all sorts of nifty assets that you can use in your project here. Very nice. And if you're in 5.5, you can add this asset pack in the exact same way from Fab. And then what you want to do is just right click any of the animation sequences here and select retarget animations. Then you'll have the source skeletal mesh here, SK Mannequin, the UE4 Mannequin. You can choose the target skeletal mesh, which in this case is going to be SKM Mani. It will automatically generate the retargeter, so there's no need to mess with the retargeter. But sometimes this retarget animations window will be pushed to the back, so you just might want to Alt-Tab and bring that up again. A little bit of a weird bug in 5.5. And then what you can do is just Control-A all of these animation assets right here, hit Export Animations. Again, I'm just going to drop them in the content folder, and I'm going to add the prefix UE5 underscore and hit export. Leave these as default and hit export. And once again, created all these new assets. So we want to hit save all. And then we will have all of these animations for the UE5 mannequin. It is really that easy in 5.5. So I do recommend switching to 5.4 or later, where the auto retargeter has been added. It is a very, very handy thing that makes life a lot easier. But with that being said, let's move on to the next asset pack. The next asset pack we're going to look at is the Advanced Locomotion System. For any of you who are unaware, this is an absolutely fantastic template project, and it contains some really cool locomotion and animations and like basic weapon overlays for the animations, all sorts of nifty stuff, but we are just going to be pulling the animations from this one today. Now, you can find this in Fab by searching Advanced Locomotion System, but I can't find anywhere here to add this, create the project. I can only view it in my library, so I can only assume that once you add this, you should be able to find it inside of your Unreal Marketplace's library. So if you open your Epic Games launcher and in the Unreal Engine section, go to Library and scroll down to your Fab library right here, you should be able to find it here and create that project. So I've got here Advanced Locomotion System, create the project, and create it for whatever engine version you're using. And then once you've created it, open it up. And if you're using 5.3 or older, you will need to add the third-person content pack to this project because it contains the retargeter that we're going to use. So I'm going to click Add and add feature content or pack. Select the third-person content pack, hit Add to Project, then close this. And in the characters folder and mannequin UE4 and rigs, once again, we've got this RTG UE4 Mani to UE5 Mani. I'm actually going to duplicate this with Control D, and I'm just going to rename it ALS underscore UE5 Mani, like so, and open this up. And then the source preview mesh, which is the UE4 mannequin. We can change that to our Anim Man from the ALS project. And I'm also going to change this target mesh offset on the preview settings to 0 so that these guys overlap. And we're going to check the poses are matching just very, very quickly. So we can up here change this to edit retarget pose. And straight away, you can see that he's sort of a little bit offset here. So I might actually change the target mesh offset on the y-axis to -5. And these guys are overlapping pretty good. There isn't much you could do to improve this pose, but you could play with the arms a little bit. So you could go to Character, Bones, All Hierarchy, and I might change my rotation snapping to 5 degrees. And then maybe just select the lower arms here and bring them out a little bit. You could also bring them down a little bit, but it's not really super necessary. Because the scales are off here, the ALS guy is quite tall. Yeah, I actually probably wouldn't even rotate that lower arm down. I'd probably just rotate the whole from the upper arm. rotate the upper arm down by 5 degrees. And I'm pretty happy with that. I wouldn't feel the need to mess with that any more than this. I'm going to save this and close this. And then in Advanced Locomotion V4 under Character Assets and Mannequin Skeleton, you'll find the ALS NMBP. You can right click on this and retarget animation assets, duplicate and retarget animation assets, and then select the retargeter that we just created, RTG ALS to UE5 Manny. And once again, let's just add the prefix UE5 underscore and hit retarget. This will take a minute or so, depending on your machine. There are quite a lot of assets to retarget here. And once again, I'm going to hit save all and then open up one or two of these assets and just make sure that they're working properly. That's all looking sweet. Very, very good. Maybe one more, like run forward. Check this one out. Very good. Nice. One thing that you do want to make sure before you retarget these assets is that with your retargeter here, your ALS UE5 Manny, you want to select the root and make sure that translation mode is set to globally scaled. And you might also want to select both the left arm and the right arms and make sure that blend to source is set to 0, like so, which it should be by default, but you may want to check that just to make sure that the root motion sort of settings are copied across correctly with the duplicated assets, and also the arms don't look, you know, funny. And I've also opened this project up in 5.5, and if you want to do this the easy way in 5.4 or later, you're also still going to need to add the third-person content pack. So add the third-person content pack to your project, and then break open characters. Where's it going? Characters, Mannequin UE4, rigs, and this UE4 Manny to UE5 Manny retargeter we're going to use again. But there is a very quick and hacky way to, instead of changing this retargeter, all you really need to do is go to your character assets, mannequin skeleton, and then filter for animation sequence. If you don't have this here, just click this right here, and in animation, check animation sequence, filter for animation sequence, and then you've got all the animation sequences that the ALS guy uses here. You can Control A all of these and then right click and replace skeleton, and we're going to replace it with the skeleton from the UE4 mannequin, which is sk underscore mannequin underscore skeleton right here. Select this one and hit OK. And now that these are using the UE4 skeleton, you can just use that UE4 to UE5 retargeter. You don't need to change the retargeter yourself, because all of these animations will look and work very nicely indeed on the UE4 mannequin. So now that this skeleton has been replaced, I'm going to save all, and then I'm going to right click and retarget animations. I'm going to select the SK mannequin as the source mannequin. I am going to select SKM Manny as the target skeletal mesh. And once again, this will sometimes be pushed to the back, so you might have to Alt Tab to bring it back up. And I am going to select all of these animations. I'm going to press Control A, export animations, give it the prefix UE5 underscore, and hit export. And then leave this as default, hit export. And you will immediately notice that some of these animation assets look totally whack. These are mostly pose assets, and this is not usable, but all of the normal sort of crouching, walking, turning in place animations are all still perfectly usable. I would just go ahead and delete all of these garbled ones. But as you can see, most of the animations, the normal animations like crouch, walking, and whatnot, they all work perfectly well. For example, there are turn in place animations here, such as these ones right here, ALS and turn right 90. And you can even switch off force root lock to see that these are working perfectly nicely. Nice. So you can take all of these animations that are working over to your project and make use of them. Alrighty, and the next set of assets we're going to look at are from the Lyra starter game. So if you just search Lyra in Fab and add the Lyra starter game to your library, then you will have to create the project inside the Epic Games launcher. So open up the Epic Games launcher, head to the Unreal Engine section and the library tab, and create the project, Lyra starter game, create project, create this project and fire it up. And if you're not familiar with the Lyra starter game, it is a fantastic showcase of the abilities of UE5 in a sort of multiplayer environment. So just very quickly, if I hit play here and I head to the front end and I hit play Lyra, start a game, elimination. And I'm just going to turn down the audio here because it's a little bit loud. But here we have basically this full-on multiplayer template. And as you can see, it's got a bunch of different animations and other stuff that's going on as well. There's a lot to be learnt from this project, but we are just going to be taking the animations from it today. And a very quick way of finding all of the animation sequences in this project is head to the content folder and then filter for animation sequence. You'll see a bunch of these animations here. Then you can actually press Ctrl B to browse where they are, and you'll see that they're in characters, heroes, mannequin, and animations, like so. And the beauty of these animations is they are already on the mannequin skeleton, but you kind of will have to replace the skeleton with the actual third person mannequin skeleton. So I would actually recommend doing this inside of an empty template project, just because if you're not making use of the rest of this project, there's no reason to take up hard drive space with this sizable project. So what we're going to do in animations here is filter for animation sequence. Then I'm going to press Ctrl A and select all of these animations in here and right click and go to Asset, Actions and Migrate. I'm going to leave everything selected as default and press OK. And then I've just navigated to the project files of an empty third-person template project that I've created. I'm going to select the content folder and select folder. And once those have migrated, you can go ahead and open up that other project. And now that I'm in my empty project, I can head to characters, heroes, mannequin, and animations, and then filter for animation sequence. And you can see we've got all of these animations from the Lyra starter game here. And all we literally have to do is Control A to select all of these, right click and replace skeleton. And then what you'll find in the pop-up here is that you've got two different SK mannequins. One is the kind of bluey purpley one from the Lyra starter game, and the other one is the regular one from the third person template project. So you can select that regular one, the one that is silver, and hit OK. And now that these skeletons have been replaced, we can hit save all. And there we have it. We have a whole bunch of animations for our UE5 mannequin. There is tons and tons of gorgeous animations in here, guys. For example, this one, I've just opened one up at random. It's a very, very nice animation. But what you'll see with a lot of these is that enable root motion is switched on. So you may just want to Control A all of these and right click and go to Asset, Actions, Edit Selection in Property Matrix. And then what you can do in here is search for root and just uncheck enable root motion like so. Hit save. Once it's finished doing its thing, we can close this one. And then let's look for one of these animations that's in motion, such as pistol jog right start. And you can see that that's got root motion switched off now. Like I said, these animations look really, really nice. You can adjust them. You can, make use of a whole bunch of these animations for different stuff, like turn in place, different locomotion stuff, and aim sweeping. There's even animations for sitting and getting up from a seat and whatnot. So if I turn force root lock off on this one, you can see. Very nice. Tons of different animations with different uses in here. Okay, let's move on. And last but certainly not least, we have the animation game sample project. As I'm sure pretty much all of you are aware, this was released recently for 5.5, and it contains 800 plus free motion captured animations. Now, I'm of the opinion that motion matching is not super scalable and usable for a solo dev or small team indie dev, but this is a source of a great deal of really cool animations. So I'm going to show you how to retarget these onto your UE5 mannequin. Once again, what you can do to find the animations in this project is just select the content folder and filter for animation sequence. And then if you find these animations on the UEFN mannequin, you can select one and press Control B to browse to it. And you'll see that they're in these folders here, which are under Content, Characters, UEFN Mannequin, and Animations. So under animations here, you've got all of these animation sequences, but I happen to know that when you retarget these, it will kind of break the root motion. So I'm going to show you how to retarget these without, breaking the root motion settings. So here with the animations folder selected and filtered for animation sequence, we are going to press Control A on all of these and then right click, go to Asset Actions, Edit Selection in Property Matrix. It might give you a warning. Just click Yes. We're going to load up all of these assets in the Property Matrix. Then we're going to search for root and we're going to uncheck Enable Root Motion and Force Root Lock so that none of these will have root motion when they're duplicated, and then we're going to switch it back on once they are duplicated. So we're going to save all of these and then close the property matrix. And then with all of these animation sequences selected, we're going to right click and go to retarget animations. Now we will have to select which ones we want to retarget. Let's select the target skeletal mesh as our SKM many, like so. And now you could retarget all of these. You could select everything from this first, I think it's a blend space. Oh, it's an animation montage. Now you could select everything from the first one here, basically right down to this one right here, and retarget all of them. But if you're not using motion matching, I wouldn't recommend that because there are like 880 animations here, and it would be a tall order to make use of all of them. So I've got a little bit of a hack here to find the most useful ones, and that is to search for loop and then just retarget all of these animations that have loop in the name. You'll see we've got walking loops, we've got an idle loop, sprint, run, and crouch loops, a jump, loop, fall, and a crouch idle loop as well. So these are a lot of the most useful ones in this project. You can click export animations, and once again I'm just going to drop them in the content folder and give them the prefix UE5 underscore and hit export. Leave these as default, hit export, and then as per usual I'm going to save all of these, and then I am going to, with all of them selected, right click, go to Asset Actions, Edit Selection via Property Matrix, and search for root. And I'm just going to check Force Root Lock, like so. Now I know this might seem a bit odd that we switched it off, we duplicated them, we switched it back on, but it is a bit of a bug sometimes in Unreal Engine that the root motion isn't really carried over, and this sort of makes sure that it is. So if I open up one of these, you'll see that it is indeed root locked, and if we uncheck Force Root Lock, it will still have that root motion like so. So this is very handy because it enables you to have both, just in case you want something with root motion. And then for your normal character animations, you can force root lock and it will be normal like so. So you've got crouch walking, we've got crouch idle, we've got in all different directions, so omnidirectional movement. This is a bunch of very useful animations indeed. And guys, that brings us to the end. That's pretty much all we set out to do today. You've got a ton of useful animations to use in your UE5 projects. And if this tutorial has been of any use or value to you whatsoever, please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.